Hey everyone, in this episode we're going to talk about Sorry to Bother You. We're going to take a look at the performances, the unique story, and the message it provides. All that and more in episode 57 of the Reel-ists Podcast. Hey everyone, I just said that again. I realized I was the same that I used in the intro. Try to keep it different.
It's all right.
But hi everyone.
Hey guys.
This is Oscar.
This is Donnie.
And we have our producer Ruben here as always.
Hello.
Hey.
So yes, thank you again for tuning into this episode. And if it's your first time, welcome. We hope you enjoy this episode. If you're a returning listener, welcome back. Yes, absolutely. We actually just want to briefly just shout out to those that have rated us on iTunes. It's been there for a while, but we don't address it. But I just wanted to thank everyone because that's something we asked, and we got some responses. So
Yeah, we did.
we are officially at 4.5 out of 5 on iTunes.
Hey.
So that's awesome. 7 people.
That's an A.
That's a passing. We're passing. 7 people that have taken their time. So appreciate that.
Thank you guys
If
so much. It
haven't
helps
done
us
so
out.
yet, we would greatly appreciate if you can just give us some feedback on our show. We do appreciate all kinds of feedback, not just on iTunes. It can be on social media or YouTube, anywhere that you can leave a comment. We'd greatly appreciate that. And I think we're ready to get into the nitty gritty of this episode.
I think so.
Sorry to bother you. Literally.
Are you saying that to me, or is that?
That's kind of tough. Just keep in mind this is going to be a spoiler discussion. So if you have not seen this, let the episode play. Put the volume on 0. Then go watch it and come back and listen to us again.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this is going to be... I think that's it. I don't think there's anything else. Spoilers.
Yeah, I think you covered it all.
I think I covered it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, yes. Sorry to bother you. Donnie, what are your initial thoughts after I read what the plot is, in case anyone is unfamiliar with this, because it's not necessarily getting a lot of mainstream attention, but it is one that's starting to get some eyes. So it's an alternate present-day version of Oakland. Telemarketer Cassius Green discovers a magical key to professional success, propelling him into a macabre universe.
Into a what?
Macabre universe.
Oh, okay.
According to IMDb.
Sweet.
So, what are your initial thoughts about this movie, Donnie?
You know, when I was in culinary school, we had to learn how to cook and prepare and eat a dish called foie, which is basically like goose liver.
Ew.
But it's like a delicacy, and
Okay.
it's really kind of a like a luxurious kind of dish, and it can be prepared a few different ways, and it's one of those things that it's like some people love it, a lot of people do love it, and a lot of people do not like it for a few reasons. I won't tell you if I like it or not. But when I saw this film...
Everyone tweet, everyone comment. See if
When I saw this film, I initially thought of foie because I'm like, people are either going to love it or they're going to hate it. Not hate it, but they're not going to get it. They're not
Right.
going to like it.
Not gonna be favorable.
It's not going to be, for everyone's palate. So that was my little metaphor of foie there, my little relation there. So we were walking out the theater, and it was kind of like, what did we just watch? Like, I mean, you had to process this. I know I sure did. I couldn't tell you. We were trying to kind of piece together what we just, watched and trying to make sense of it.
I had to do a quick review.
But it was one of those films that you literally have to go home and you have to sleep on it and you have to just kind of let it soak in like season, man.
Okay, nice reference.
And, after it soaked in, I really, really enjoyed what the film did. It's definitely a very, what you said, like, what was it, a alternate
present day.
Alternate, like, present day version of Oakland, which it totally was. I appreciate this film because, I appreciate this film for a lot of reasons that we'll get into, but one of them was, they depicted Oakland and not in the traditional sense. It's not like we saw, parts of Oakland and we're like, oh, well, that's Oakland. But it wasn't like other films where they depicted as very, very just rundown and ghetto and projects and gang banging and street violence. Like it didn't go that like cliche route, because we always see like Oakland and those kind of cities depicted in such a bad light. So there were some times where I forgot that they were even in Oakland. So I think that was a good move on their part. And I also appreciate the film because at the end of the day, the messages were pretty important messages. They talked about, kind of like social economic like injustice, and they talked about corporations treating workers bad and unfairly and poorly. And, there was, a little, some, like race and politics and those kind of issues. But they delivered it in such a outlandish kind of like silly, allegorical way. And it was truly, I mean, like a very, very a satire, this film was, and it was meant to be very just over the top and far left. So it was cool because you got those messages, the messages that the film was trying to deliver, the overall points, but they did it in a very, very unique way, which I thought was really refreshing.
Okay. My thoughts on it is it's one that if you don't know what you're getting yourself into, yes, you do get taken aback, because at first you think, oh, maybe this is just kind of just a little parody to some extent. Maybe they're just trying to give a quick little fun message. But it does not. It completely goes with what it's trying to say. And in unapologetic, I can't even say the word, unapologetically, it sticks with it, which is very interesting. I'm just really calling back to like the trailers and stuff, and I'm trying to just remember. To me, like the appeal of the movie was this idea of how to be like a successful telemarketer in not even like in a serious way, but like oh, this is the only way you can succeed. It kind of had that that commentary about that about the white voice and how that privileged and all that kind of fun stuff. So that's what I was intrigued with. But I think going into it and seeing it now, it definitely had more messages it wanted to say, but it didn't say it directly where you felt like it was you have to walk out and go make a decision immediately to do something. It was kind of just more of like, let me explain how it feels or how this world can be looked at from a different point of view. So it wasn't like neither side saying this is the right way, this is the wrong way, look what's happening. It was just more of like, let's take a look at what's going on in a different format, akin to like Twilight Zone and Black Mirror, where it's like they take a lot of the messages that they want you to receive, but they take it in these big idea ways that's kind of just a metaphor for what the issue really is in reality. So that was very interesting. I didn't expect it. I think that was probably the biggest thing, was I was not expecting it. I was expecting to just kind of have a low-key comedy movie. But it really becomes a sci-fi fantasy to some extent. So that was just very interesting to have experienced that. And it's like, I just keep recalling, it was just like, where is this going? Like at first I was just like, oh, yeah. We're just going to start to see like more craziness get added on. Luckily it doesn't go too far where you lose it, but
it like borderlines it. It's like border.
Yeah. Because then it's like, okay, well, I guess since it is a spoiler, we'll now say, now that we've gone our quick thoughts, the biggest thing here is that this corporation that was
worry-free is what they're called.
Yes, that was like a prison-like environment that you like kind of like a contract you sign. You like sign up your life, but you get this worry-free.
Yeah, so they basically take care of housing, food, bills, but you're signing a contract to like be fully employed by them.
Yes.
And it sounds nice, and they advertise it like, oh, all your troubles will be gone with worry-free. Just come work for worry-free.
Right.
But it ends up turning out to be they're like pretty much, a kind of prison in a sense.
And in prison, yeah, and then they take it even further that they're experimenting in other ways to make it more slave-like control, where they can have that ability to control. So that experiment being they are turning people into, well, not turning them to horses, but they're combining horses like DNA with human DNA to kind of get that manitor kind of like hybrid. But
yeah,
so that's the big twist that we find out practically the halfway point through through the movie. So the first half is our main character,
Cassius Green,
which is very funny because I didn't realize it until I was looking into it online. But the breakdown is literally Cash is green.
I know. I was like, and I didn't realize that.
Because you just see the Cassius, like you just read it as that, like Cassius.
Yeah.
I'm gonna name my kid that Cassius. Cassius Rivera. But yeah, so we take his character who is just struggling. He's living under a family's house, and he's in the garage. Has a girlfriend. Just got this job, trying to just make ends meet. He's not trying to do anything else above and beyond. And he struggles with his telemarketing, and he's given the advice to, how to succeed kind of thing. So it takes off that angle, and he starts to do well. And then once he gets like even deeper into this company, that's when that twist comes. And now he has this whole new like plan of people need to know what's going on, and he wants to spread the word and get this to go. And he does, and that backfires because it becomes more of appraisal than hatred, and people start loving this concept of like improving humans. Mm-hmm. But there's still that small group that feel like this is not right. So it's that kind of political revolutionary moment that occurs, and then I guess we could just go with it ends to the point where he thinks he's going back to normal life, but it ends up not being that case. I don't know if we should spoil that. That should be that.
Maybe we'll just leave that.
That one should be one where if you watch it, you'll see that. But yeah, that's the central plot breakdown. So halfway point, that's when it brings this twist in, and as we said, it just runs with it. It doesn't like say like, oh, that was just a dream, or it was something that was caused by something he took, like a drug or anything. It was like full on, like that was real life. That was what's going on. So yeah, very interesting. The performances though, I think the performances were very good all around.
Right.
I really enjoyed the performances, even the smaller screen performances that we had from some of our well-known actors like Terry Crews. Like even those were like nice. It wasn't too much. I thought when he was going to be on it, I thought it was going to go more like outlandish comedy, but luckily like
his was a little more. His character was like a little more toned down.
Yeah,
than
like he didn't really provide humor other than like just commentary that was like a firing back, but came off as like comedic to some extent. So, but yeah, no, and our main character, Tessa Thompson, is one of the characters. I'm trying to remember Lakeith.
Yeah, Lakeith Stanfield.
Stanfield, that's the last.
He played Cassius,
yes.
And so Lakeith Stanfield obviously was great in this one. Tessa Thompson was great as her character's name is Detroit. And I thought she was really. I loved how it's like he was in the beginning, at least, like he was very. It seemed like his mind was always kind of wandering and worrying, and like he seemed kind of at times he seemed very like serious, like just very. I don't want to say composed, but it seemed like he was just a little more, I guess, realistic and like kind of serious. And Detroit, Tessa Thompson's character, was this free spirit, artistic, like kind of aspirational type of like free spirit. And it was like I really liked I feel like they both balanced each other really well. I feel like their chemistry, their on-screen chemistry was really, really good.
It was, yes. You really felt that they had interest in each other rather than it was two people that were acting, so to speak. So it was really nice. I think also Armie Hammer and Stephen Young, who was from Walking Dead, was like, whoa, he actually has a non-Walking Dead role.
And I really liked his character. I mean, he was really kind of the hidden hero, in the film. He was kind of, trying to organize this union for these people that worked at the telemarketing company. So he was kind of trying to rally everybody together, and like the unsung hero is what I wanted to say. But he really, I mean, his character was really like just a good guy, and you really rooted for him, and you really like, you saw what he was trying to do. I mean, he was a minor, he was not the main, like one of the main stars, but his character played an important role in the story.
It was a strong supporting role. Yeah. It wasn't as like something as Danny Glover, who had like a minor role.
Yeah.
He was the one that introduced this like
this concept of the white voice
that helped Cassius kind of become successful. And then we also had a lot of well-known voice actors. Well, not voice actors, but actors lending their voices. Patton Oswalt, David Cross, Lily James, all these people that, didn't make a physical appearance, but I recognized their voice. It was very like...
I didn't at all.
No? It's I mean, if you've seen them in few films, and you remember them, then I think you right.
Maybe if I see that, because I don't even know their faces. Like, who?
David Cross. You know, he's the one that's always like in the business side.
Oh, David Cross.
Now you remember. Patton Oswalt.
He was in. Yeah.
Patton Oswalt is the voice of Ratatouille, Remy.
Patton Oswalt. Yes. Okay. Wow. All right.
Lily James is Cinderella. And
Lily James, I knew that, okay. And I know who Rosario Dawson is.
And Rosario Dawson, yeah.
Wow, David Cross, I didn't know.
So it was very nice to have that kind of just. It was a strong performance. I mean, their voices, they only did it more in. It wasn't even like necessarily comedic parts. They just did it when it was trying to help that clear distinction between using your white voice versus your regular voice. Yeah. But that was nice. I still feel like it was done well editing wise on that part, because it did feel like it was Lakeith speaking as those voices. Like, it didn't feel like it was like an add on. Like, it really felt like it was him speaking.
They kind of choreographed that very well, and like even the way like
very similar to like the Ant-Man and the Wasp, like and the Ant-Man, even both.
Yeah, like the Michael Peña's when Michael's talking and all the actors are
following. Yeah.
It was done really well, and I was a little nervous about that. I was like, oh, this could seem really, really fake, or like not land the way they were expecting it to. But it worked. It worked really well.
It did. I liked it. I felt like it did worked out exactly the way it needed to. Armie
Hammer too was. I mean, I know we said Armie Hammer, but like he was like. I really liked. I didn't like his character. He was a bad guy, but he was. Armie Hammer did a great job, because I feel like that character, Steve Lift was his name. It was very
business-like. Exactly what you expect from a high-end business person. Like, it's like, we're doing this for business reasons. We like you. That's why we want to give you this opportunity. But it was like...
But even like his view on the whole thing was very like
that's true.
Blinded. Like, it was like he couldn't see what he was doing wrong. Like, all he saw was like, this is gonna change how we basically do work here. Like, this is gonna revolutionize the workforce, and it's gonna make us even more millions and if not billions. And like, that's all he could see. Like, there was no morals or ethics considered, and you could tell like he didn't. It's not like where you see some people who like just ignore it, and he's like, and it makes him even kind of more villainous, because it's like they know they're doing something bad.
Yeah,
it's like. He just didn't even know why this would be a bad thing. Like, all he saw was how this would be a good thing. Kind of like just so irrational in his head, so like in the clouds, like he can't see what's really going on. And I thought that quirk to him was portrayed very, very well by Armie Hammer.
I agree. I enjoyed that. I mean, when he was explaining the reason why, like, being these new horse breeds was like the way to go.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like it was an interesting pitch. It wasn't like a completely bad pitch where you're just like, that doesn't make sense.
And then he was like, and we can reverse it.
Yeah.
Like, he was like kind of selling it, and I was like, it would make. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but the way he was selling it you might even consider it for a second, especially when he was like, and it can be reversed, and I was like, oh, it can be.
And it was like a good pay. So there was a lot of enticing things about that pitch that he did. So that was, I'm really happy about that. I do want to just briefly talk about this, just because since we're talking about the actors, you cooked for two of the actors.
Oh yeah, I actually did. So Lakeith Stanfield. Okay, let me just. Oh my gosh. So I was working at a restaurant in Oakland, and I think it was like a weekday. It was like maybe Wednesday night, Thursday night, something like that. It wasn't a weekend or anything. And it was like around like 6:30 maybe. I'm at the salad station, and where we worked on this line, but it was facing towards the restaurant, so we saw everybody that came in, everybody. So my chef comes over, and they're basically like, hey, the owner's here. And he has important guests at his table. They're at table 41 or whatever. So I look over, and I was like, and I saw Lakeith Stanfield. I hadn't really, the only thing I'd known him for at this time was Atlanta. So I was like, oh my God, that's the guy from Atlanta. And I told my coworker Amber, I was like, Amber, that's the guy from like Atlanta. Oh my gosh, like, I've seen him on TV. And then a couple minutes go by, and I'm just looking at seeing who else is there, and then I see Tessa Thompson sitting there. And I'm like, oh my God, that's the girl. And I had only known her at this point from For Colored Girls. And I was like, oh my God, that's Tessa Thompson. So then I told Amber again, oh my God, Amber, it's Tessa Thompson. And it's crazy because she had like the hair that she has in the film, like purpley red, crazy colored hair. That was the hair that she was wearing when she came in. So I was just thinking, oh, well, maybe Tessa as an actress likes to be a free spirit and likes to have crazy colors in her hair. But I put two and two together and realized that they were filming this movie that we're talking about while they came into our restaurant. And it was filmed in Oakland, which is why they were there.
Yes, it all came together, which was really awesome.
Yeah, and then I got a ticket to cook up some fritters, some like corn fritters that were on the menu that night. And sure enough, it was for that table, and I got so nervous, and I was like, oh my God, these have to be the most perfectly plated like corn fritters that I'm going to send out ever. And guess what I did?
What?
They're corn fritters, right?
Yes.
So I had to make a new batch of them because I ran out, and I forgot to put the corn in them. So I sent them just regular fritters with no corn. Thank God they didn't like realize it, or the owner didn't come over and like bite my head off. But honest mistake, but they liked it. And then at the end of the night, when we were like almost finishing up, Tessa Thompson came over to us, and she, because we had to like put these. Whenever we would put up a plate of food, we would like put it on the counter so the waitress can come and get it.
Yes.
So Amber had put up like this, I think it was like a fried petroli fish dish or something like that. So Tessa Thompson was just walking by. I think she was going to the restroom, and she pointed at that, and she was like, ooh, what's that? And I froze because I was like, oh my God. She like asked me a question, and then Amber was standing right there, and she was like, oh, that's our fried petroli, blah, 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 blah. And then Tessa Thompson was like, oh, that looks so good. And I was like, oh my God, we were geeking out. Well, I was geeking out. So that was like the closest I've ever come to like a celebrity encounter, which was very cool.
That's awesome. You have your. It would have been nice if you did have an interaction with them, because that would be a like official like interaction.
I know, if I didn't chicken out and like freeze when she asked like, what's that? But it wasn't my dish that I plated or that I cooked. It was Amber's. So I'm like, Amber has to answer. But she looked at me when she asked, what's that? So does that count? She made eye contact. I made eye contact with her.
Yeah, technically she addressed you.
Yeah, so that was cool.
And you didn't even like signal anything. You were just like frozen. That's funny.
I was just frozen.
But yeah, no, it's really cool because I think we didn't know this movie until we saw the trailer. They were just like, Oakland, wait, Tessa Thompson.
Yeah, and then it all just clicked like, oh my God, that's why they were there. And
that was,
So that's cool. Very cool. Thank you for letting me share that story.
It makes sense. It makes sense. It's a full circle. You saw the film. Well, you didn't see the filming of it, but you saw
I saw them while they were filming.
Making this, yeah.
So it was really cool. And it's crazy to think like, I mean, that was, we're in 2018. That was, it wasn't that long ago, but I mean, over a year ago. And it's
just
like,
tells you the film process.
The film process. And it's like, dang, that was a while back.
Well, now we know why. They had to add like horses.
Yeah, for real.
That would be one of the things that I say is not a bad thing, but the horses were done in a way that was hard to believe. Like, it did not feel like, this was an actual thing that was happening. It just felt like it was humorous to some extent. I don't know if that was the intention, but I didn't take the horse part seriously, just because the way they were shown just looked too cartoonish, almost like a Adult Swim kind of creation. So that was my like one thing. I was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to like really buy into like, ooh, being a horse might be a good thing, but this was just.
Or is it like maybe they didn't want to take it? They didn't want to appear that they were taking themselves too seriously.
Yeah.
So they're like, if it looks ridiculous and unrefined, unpolished, unedited, very like mediocre, that's kind of what the look we're going for, kind of thing, maybe. And
when it debuted, it was a little disturbing because I think we saw like a naked horse.
Yeah,
I think all of them were naked.
They were all naked, but yeah, we got a full frontal of
it was
horseman.
And at that point, you're reacting too. You're just like, what is this? And then they show like the phone, and they're like pleading for help, and then you're just like, what is going on? It was very unique in its.
I do even love like that bit of it, because it's like, I feel like they're just using such a metaphor there, because when you have people talking about companies and they're like, they treat us like animals, they treat us like slaves, and it's like they literally took that, they treat us like animals, and literally like displayed it in this film.
And show the animals crying
and show them, so it's like, like I said, I mean, this movie is just so unapologetic, and like took metaphors and satire and allegory, and just like ran with it.
Yes, to me the message was very similar to a Twilight Zone episode called The Eye of the Beholder. I don't know if you've seen that one. It's the one where a lady is getting surgery, and so the entire time
Yeah.
her face is covered.
Oh, and then she comes out and she looks just like they all look the same, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And she was like,
well, she looked like a normal beautiful person
throughout the whole episode.
Well, we never see her face. The entire episode is her covered in mask, and she's just talking about like, I want this to succeed. I want to look like, a beautiful person. My life would be better if I look like everyone else. And so to us, we're thinking it's going to be like this drastic transformation. And when they reveal and they take it off, she's normal for us.
Yeah.
And then we see that the doctors and nurses are actually like really ugly. But in this universe, ugly is beautiful, and that kind of ugly is beautiful. So she was upset that it didn't work the way she wanted. So she technically was ugly, and was like being shamed by society for being ugly.
Even though she was really beautiful to us, to the viewer.
She was, yeah. So which is why it's like the added beholder. It's very similar to that kind of message where these horses were getting like to the corporations. They were positive. They have more strength. They can do more than what a human can do. But to like a human at first, it comes off more as like, you're making me be something else, and I might not even like that, So that was very unique. I remember like that was one thing I kept thinking about, was just that comparison of those two. Definitely check out The Eye of the Beholder. It's really nice because like the entire episode's dark, and you just see like the lady in like the bed, and she's just talking, and you just like they keep like adding up. It's like, okay, we're gonna try the surgery again. Sorry, didn't go through. No, keep trying, doctor. You have to. Well, just keep in mind, if we try this one more time, it was like nice. Not to go off track, but it was a really nice episode. Recommended if you like these kinds of like, I don't want to say dark twists, but like dark sci-fi take on important messages, I guess would be a good way to say it. Was there a particular scene that stood out? We kind of mentioned my scene which was the revelation of these horses. Because that still is that comes to my head. Like, anytime I think about this movie, it's just that scene where we find them, and we're like just as freaked out as Cassius Green is. So
there was, I mean, this movie had so many just kind of takeaway scenes, and like, I mean, it was just, there was a lot. I mean, there was.
I remember the art gallery that Tessa Thompson,
when she was doing her what do you call it? Kind of like her
live art. It was
kind of like her like a live art, I guess.
Demonstration, something. Yeah,
that was interesting. That's when Lily James's voice came into play, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
There were one scene that I really thought was funny, and I thought really runs parallel to today's, even in like society and today, and in dealing with like race and black and white specifically, when Lakeith when Cassius went to the party, and they were like, "Oh, can you rap?" And then they were like, he was like, "I can't."
Yeah.
And they were like, basically tried to make like gave him a mic, and they're like, "Come on, you can rap." And like after he was trying to like rap, and it just wasn't all the white people were listening, and they were like, "This is whack, this is lame." And then he starts, I can't say it, but he starts rapping. Just something very very simple.
Profanity,
And they went crazy over it, and it's like, it's so funny, kind of like he was using his culture to using black culture to amuse and appease these white people, which I thought was just even, it's a short scene, and it's not like the most important scene in the film, but I think it speaks true to a lot of what happens today, and there's a lot of debates about that, and about I think it's called cultural appropriation, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe you're right. Yes.
And just kind of, I always when I'm on social media, Instagram and Twitter, and I always see that phrase pop up, and there's always these debates about that. So I think that scene goes along with what people talk about nowadays and what's debated about.
I can see that.
So I thought that was one of the scenes that stood out to me, and it was a funny scene. I mean, overall, we can talk about if that's a good scene or a bad scene, or how that plays into it.
Yeah.
But it stood out for me, and I caught it as soon as I was able to identify what they were. I think that's what they were trying to do. Kind of poke fun at that whole situation. So, yeah.
I remember just the telemarketing scene, and I guess that's just because my job involves phones a lot, so just the whole like trying to pretend like have this like different attitude on the phone versus how you really want to be or how you really want to respond. And then like when they would like put him in the like these people's locations and it looked like he's talking to them directly.
Oh yeah, that was another.
I thought that was a nice little.
I loved those scenes. Thank you. I did love those scenes too. Kind of that surrealism of like him being on the phone and then him and his entire desk literally falling into that room that he was speaking to. Like I thought those were really, really just well done scenes. Like I'm so glad that they went that route. And I think that and that's what's marketed in the trailers too.
Yes.
So like I was expecting that, and this film has a lot of that, but I really liked that. And I think sometimes that can work and sometimes that can just be a fail. Yeah, but I dug it and it was great that they, in the beginning too, he did like 3 or 4 different calls and he fell into each of those rooms.
Yes.
And I thought it was great.
Yes, absolutely. That was something else that stood out, and I thought about it as well. Okay. With that being said, Donnie, let's sum it all up and get a real score. What is your score for this movie?
I'm gonna give it.
Dramatic rule.
I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
I thought the movie was really well done, and like I said, it's not going to be for everyone. It's not like I would encourage every single person to go watch this film, because I know some people wouldn't like it. Just like I wouldn't encourage everyone to go eat foie gras. Like not everyone's going to like it.
Tying it back to
my example that I used in the beginning. But I personally did, and I feel like it really spoke to really some important, kind of controversial, if you will, topics and issues that we face today in this country, but it did it in such a fun, quirky, unique way that it connects. And there are films, that like tell stories and they're so dramatic, and for instance, a movie like way back when, like Norma Ray, that was about a woman trying to organize a union, I think, for like the place she was working at, something like that. I'm sorry, I've only seen bits and pieces of Norma Ray, but I heard that's like kind of the gist of it. But like that's very dramatic movie and dramatic elements, and it's but and then you have a movie that can kind of portray the same message, but do it in a different way. Portray the same message, but it's like if you give me a present and you can either give it to me wrapped up in wrapping paper and a bow or a ribbon, or you can like give it to me wrapped up in like a La La Land poster. I don't know why I said La La Land. A Metallica poster. Anything, I'm getting the same gift but just delivered in a different message. So I guess that's my point. Sorry if I'm rambling, but I did like that they were able to deliver these strong messages, important messages, but in such a quirky, out-of-the-box way. And I think it connected, and I think it's great.
It's different than the way the first Purge was more like shoehorning, like you need to see what's going on, and like this was more of like attack, versus Sorry to Bother You was more of just like passive, of like, think of it as this way, kind of like it was like someone trying to explain an issue to you, but more of trying to say, think of it as this way, blah,
right.
blah.
It's like, why don't you, yeah, exactly. That's a great example. The first Purge was very like, we need change, we got to be the ones to make it happen, rah, rah, rah. We're gonna riot, and we're gonna do what we got to do. And this one's like, let's totally just make fun of it and just like go crazy with it, but still trying to get the same point across.
Yes.
So that, for those reasons, I feel like I've just been talking a lot tonight. For those reasons, I give it a 4 out of 5 reels.
Okay.
Oscar, what do you give it?
Very, 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 very on point with yours. It is a 4 out of 5 as well.
Sweet.
I guess I'll go with more of the things reason why it wasn't a better score, since you covered a lot of the reasons why it was such a great score. But to me, the thing that I still take it back with was that this alternate universe, while it wasn't necessarily clear that that's what we were going with, like, sometimes when they make it clear, like they do something that you see that's okay, this is not our world, like very commonly, like they say like the president is actually the opposite of who lost in real life, some of those kinds of things where it's like you get a clear sense if it's an alternate universe. It didn't get that to me. Like, to me, I didn't feel this like it was a different Oakland. I felt like it was our Oakland, except for this plot twist, which is fine. That's not to say, but I'm still trying to get what was the reason of saying this was an alternate universe when the messages were relevant to our reality, kind of thing. So that was something that did bother me with that. The horses, as I mentioned, I'm not sure exactly if they were trying to make it more of just like less scary or like less serious, like they were still having fun with it. I'm not sure what their angle was. I just did not like how they were portrayed, or at least like visually, not like how the animals, or how, see, I don't even know what to call them, animals, humans,
hybrids.
Right, exactly. But yeah, and I think like the messages were very strong to it. And I do like that this was a very Twilight Black Mirror episode where, you know, it's taking a message and putting you in a different universe so you can kind of see what we're going through just in a different lens, because that sometimes is what helps people to see, oh, I can see how our world is doing just like that, or that's nothing different than our world, blah blah blah. So I do like that, but I feel like there was a lot of the little things that made it a little bit harder for me to really sit back and enjoy, and a lot of it was more me of trying to just question. I was questioning a lot more, and not questioning in the sense of like raising what they're trying to bring to the light, but more of just the production side of it, or the script process of it, kind of, so to speak. So, but it's a really good movie, done well. It's well thought of, I would say. I don't know if it was executed to the best it could have been. I feel like maybe some things could have improved it, but overall, it still delivered a strong movie, and I do recommend it if you like those kinds of, you know, sci-fi mixed with like commentary, social commentary kind of movies. It's definitely worth checking out. That's in your palette.
Yeah, for sure.
Going back to that kitchen, right?
Right, no, right? Well said.
So, yes. So, hopefully everyone has a similar thoughts to ours. If you have anything different, we'd love to hear your reaction to it. If you didn't like it, or if you felt it wasn't as strong as what we thought of it, we definitely would just appreciate any feedback. Or if you loved it as us, we like to know we're on par with others. We're not two strangers. Three identical strangers.
Promoting that one now.
not right. It just felt like it was in my head when I said two strangers. I was like, they're identical. Not that we're covering that. I mean, but yeah,
we might see it though.
We might. Yeah, of course. Yeah. When is
Hello, we have Movie Pass and we have AMC Stubs.
Oh, we need to update people on that too.
We do.
Well, there'll be an update.
Maybe we'll do an episode. Maybe we'll do at least an update.
Yeah.
We'll at least update you guys, because I think we said we're gonna
test it out. Test them
both out.
We still got 2 weeks. We still got some weeks left.
That's true.
But yes, hopefully everyone enjoyed this episode. If you're unaware of how to follow us, we're on social media with Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Team Reel-ists. That's Team REELISTS. And you can also leave us a comment on iTunes and YouTube. So hopefully you can reach us, and hopefully you can find us. And if you love us so much, spread the word.
Yeah, please.
Always.
Always.
But yes, thank you everyone for listening. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.